Hello and welcome to Introduction to Ethics. My name's Timothy McKenzie, and I will be your instructor in this summer course. I hope you have fun taking it. We'll discuss a lot of different issues. We'll learn about sort of the foundations of ethical theory of how we make decisions as humans about what's right or wrong, and that'll be the basic gist. But I wanted to say that before we get too far along, that this is a summer course, and as a result, it is at a much more picked up pace. We have about 8 weeks, technically more like 7.5, because the last week ends on Thursday and begins on, everything begins on Monday. So we only have about 7.5 weeks to accomplish what during the semester would be 16 weeks plus a week of finals. So it would be 17 weeks, and if you were in the spring semester, you'd also get spring break to catch up on any homework or anything as well. So we're doing this probably in about a little over twice the pace that you would be doing a regular summer or regular semester course. And so I don't want you to come in here and think, well, boy, there's a lot of reading this week. Well, you kind of have to expect that you're going to be doing more reading, a little more writing, a little more of everything in each given week. And so I want you to kind of prepare for that. But at the same time, and everybody's different. Obviously, I pursued a career in philosophy, so obviously I may not be the same as a lot of other people. But I enjoy talking about ideas. I enjoy talking about what is right and wrong, and debating moral issues. So that to me isn't really tough work, but that's a lot of what we do. And so I don't think that you won't be spending excessive amounts of time, just reading complex, difficult things and memorizing facts. You'll be spending a lot of time thinking about ethical issues and trying to explain why you believe or why you think this is right or that's wrong, and trying to reassess those ideas. And so I don't think that's too tough a work, but it is definitely something you need to make sure you can put the time in. I just want to make that point right up front. Now, on other matters, because I was converting this over from the semester process to the summer schedule, what I did was I took all the modules and I made them due. I wanted everything to be consistently due on a Thursday. And so what happens is I want everything to be due at noon on Thursday. Now, as a result, some of the modules during the regular semester, I might have given students 4 weeks to work on it. But during the summer semester, because there's only so many weeks, basically everything has to be 1 week in length. Now, what I did was, for example, our first module, which is over just sort of basic introductory information, that's due this very first Thursday. It's only get a few days to work on it. And that is difficult. If you have some issues, you're working other things, and you just can't get it done, I will consider an extension in that case. But for the most part, I want it done in that time frame because it'll allow us to keep moving on. If we extend any deadlines, it will be a problem later on. But the case, though, is everything's due on Thursday. And so, for example, the first module is due Thursday, but there's not a whole lot of work. That's really more of an introductory module, a module, kind of get to know each other. What's philosophy? How does ethics fit into philosophy? That kind of module. If you've taken another philosophy course with me, a lot of the material I would cover is probably not going to be anything that you haven't seen before. Now, as far as you go beyond that, though, as you get a little further in, there were some modules during the regular semester I might give 4 weeks to, but you only get a week here. Now, part of the reason I say is you can work ahead, and so if you get done with a module and you think it was fairly simple, you can move ahead. But the other thing is that the modules, you can move ahead, but the other thing is there will be a little break in the middle where there's no module due. And that also gives you a little bit of extra time. The two longest modules are, I believe, modules 4 and 5 are typically the two longest, with 4 actually being the longest. And I do give 2 weeks for that one, with one of our papers due during that time. So be aware of that. Don't expect, I guess what my point here is don't expect that because the first module only took, 6 hours to do absolutely everything in it. That the next module is that you have a week to do is going to be the same way. And don't expect the next one that may take you 20 hours is going to be, exemplary of the others. A couple of the later modules I think are a little simpler. There are a couple that are more difficult. So, it kind of just, it will vary. But typically what probably sets the timing and everything is I do have videos in the lessons. If you click on the lessons, there will be videos embedded. And, you can kind of look and see how much time all those videos will take. And that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of the timing for each module. Now, as far as it goes, the first module is due Thursday. That's less than a week away. I know that that's a pretty quick timeline. If you face a problem with that, you can always talk to me. But the idea is that we can be done with that, then we can move forward. Now, I wanted to talk about, before we go too far this semester, I'm still updating a few things in the course. I think some of the videos may need updated. I'm not 100% sure. The grade book has a lot, has double and triple listings of some of the grades because of a problem when I transferred everything over. And I need to update some of that stuff. I got a little bit of a late start. Usually with an online class, usually the week before the class is usually a week where, as an instructor, you're very busy trying to get everything ready. Unfortunately, today is Sunday before this class starts, and I actually had the flu the entire week before this class started, and I was miserable all week. And so today, I really did not get as much work done. And so there's a few things that I need to clean up. If you notice some problems or you see something, let me know. That may just be the fact that I'm still trying to get everything ordered up. Now, as far as this class goes, the class by design is supposed to be half a theoretical course and half an applied ethics course. And so what you'll find is the online module or lessons are specifically, dealing with the theory. That, you'll talk about utilitarianism, deontological ethics, virtue ethics, the concepts of moral relativism, the concepts of moral egoism. These are the main concepts in those lessons. And, what you'll do is those are all very theoretical. What is moral egoism? What does it say? How does it influence ethical decision making? How have scholars dealt with that? Blah, blah, blah. Now, on the other hand, the other part is the application. And that occurs in the discussion boards, where you get a case and you have to say, well, how would I handle this? How would I deal with this? And then we also have papers, summary papers throughout the semester. And those deal with how do we deal with these issues? How do we handle it? What's the philosophical discussion that's occurred on this issue? And so those are more the application, and the modules are more the theoretical end. And so both are actually supposed to be equal as far as the syllabus, as far as our accreditation, the transferability of this course. The discussion boards and those papers are probably supposed to be about half the focus of the course. The other half's on the theory. And so, kind of keep that in mind as you're working, and you start, kind of going, well, I'll just blow this discussion board off. Well, you blow the discussion board off, and I know you've blown the discussion board off. I can look and see, you wrote something that wasn't that thoughtful, wasn't that thought-provoking. I'm going to grade you down reasonably, and reasonably so, because that is something you should be taking time thinking about the issue. How would you handle this? You go, well, this is so simple. Well, is it so simple? I mean, what if somebody came in and told you the exact opposite? Why don't you tell them that, you're so silly because you would have even the slightest inkling to disagree with you on such a simple issue, such a simple moral issue. And I think that what you'll find is a lot of these things are more fine-tuned, and that's kind of what we're trying to get at, is we're trying to get you to go a little bit more in depth and look at these things with a little bit more finesse as we go through that. So take your time, engage everything in a meaningful way, and I think that's the key with the discussion boards, is engage them in a meaningful way. As far as the exams go, the exams are mainly essay questions. The exams will have essay questions that may be, some of the essay questions, for example, on the first one are just very basic questions to get you familiar with the syllabus and the course setup. And there'll be questions like, when is this due, and you just put Tuesday, or everything's Thursday, so you put Thursday, June 30th. But what happens is at other times the other things that will need to be looked at, you know, some of the questions will be a little bit more in depth. The key is you should do all your readings and go through all the lessons and do everything first, because you will be timed on those things. While you don't have a horribly restrictive time, it is 3 hours. But if you've not done any reading, you're going to have a pretty difficult time finding it, reading it, and then being able to, synthesize or, summarize that in your own words or in your own thoughts, and to come up with original ideas and everything else that I request in the time frame that is requested. I mean, if you have to go out and say, what's the concept of moral good luck? Give me an example of moral good luck. And you don't know what moral good luck is from the beginning. Well, then you've got to go learn the definition, see what examples work, and then be able to come up with your own, and you got 10 more questions. Well, you can't put in, 35, 40 minutes on that question and then have enough to finish the rest. So you do need to read, you do need to be prepared, you do need to go in and have taken some time. Now, when you get your information, when you answer these questions, I expect you to use the book and the readings or the online lessons, the online lectures, not the internet. A lot of times people will look up the answers on the internet. I get the very clear indication that they haven't prepared or spent the time with the lessons, and they'll Google it and they'll give this answer that may be very fine-tuned and other things, but it has nothing to do with what was discussed in the book. Or I wouldn't say it doesn't have anything to do, but it's very clearly taking a very different perspective, or it's taking a fine-tuned distinction that I didn't get into, and so it suggests to me that they weren't actually engaged in the material. And that's part of what I'm grading this on. So read the book, get your answers from the book. This isn't look up the answers on the internet and spout them back. So I want you to be careful and cognizant not to wait till the last minute and then just try Googling it and expect me to not be able to recognize that your answers came from Google versus from my lectures or the book. Now, as far as things go, I do offer extra credit in the form of two things. The first discussion board is extra credit, which is just an introductory discussion board. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And then I also offer extra credit if you find mistakes. If you find a spelling error, you find grammatical errors, you find scheduling errors, you find things that just don't make sense, bring those to my attention and I will give you extra credit. That helps me fix those discussion boards, fix the lessons, fix other things, and I'll give you a point for every mistake you find that I need to correct. What typically do is I will give credit for that until I fix the error. So don't just save these all up to the end of the semester. Send them as you've noticed them. And the idea being that if I may not fix them all on the day you send them, so if somebody else sees it the next day before I've got a chance to fix it, then both people will get credit. But until I fix it, if I fix it on Tuesday and you email me on Wednesday, well, too late at that point. I've already fixed it. But give me a thing and I give you a point for every error I find. And so that can add up, especially people. I think that's beneficial. Not only does it improve the course and that, but I think it also should give you a better stake that, you see these errors and, it does improve the course overall. Now, as a final note, one of the things people oftentimes ask me is to say, how am I to be successful in an online course? And I always say there's two things. First of all, unlike a classroom where you can sit there and hope a classmate asks a question, you don't have that option here. If you have a question, you really just need to email me and say, I don't understand this. That's what I'm here for. That's what I get paid for. I don't mind getting 50 emails from you. People say, I'm sorry, I have another question. Sorry, I have another question. You don't have to apologize. I mean, I appreciate it if you want to apologize, but you don't need to apologize. That's what I'm here for. If you're confused, ask the question. One time I ever get annoyed is if it's a question that maybe is something you could find out fairly easily on your own, like, what's my grade? Well, there's a grade book, that kind of thing. And then the other thing I always say is set aside time. As an online instructor with other priorities, with 2 young children myself, it is easy to let the real world distract you. And you need to make sure to set aside time now and to make sure to work on this class because otherwise, if it's easy to put, it out of mind. All right, good luck. If you have any questions, make